How does a well-respected man, a televangelist who has positively impacted thousands of lives, the overseer of a church with branches across Africa and Israel, find his reputation shattered by allegations so severe they seem unthinkable for a spiritual leader? Meet Pastor Timothy Oluseun Omotoso, a Nigerian televangelist and the senior pastor of Jesus Dominion International, headquartered in Durban, South Africa. Since April 2017, Pastor Tim has been in custody at the Port Elizabeth High Court, awaiting trial on grave charges of rape, racketeering, and human trafficking. The allegations against him include grooming young victims and molesting them, some as young as 14 years old. But is this a case of a respected leader being falsely accused, or is Pastor Tim truly a wolf in sheep's clothing? Let's uncover the truth. Timothy Oluseun Omotoso was born on July 14, 1958, in Ibadan, Oyo State, Nigeria. As of 2023, he is 65 years old and celebrates his birthday every July 14th. He is married to Taiwo Omotoso, who is also a minister of the gospel, and together they have 3 children, Victoria, John, and Victor.
He was born in Nigeria. He has several branches of Jesus Dominion International across the country. But in 2012 was when, for the first time, he says God called him and said he must come to South Africa and set up a GDI church here in South Africa.
Omotoso is the senior pastor of Jesus Dominion International, headquartered in Durban, South Africa, with branches across Africa, France, and the United Kingdom. In addition to leading the church, he oversees Tim Omotoso Global Outreach, an evangelical ministry focused on mentoring young talents. Through his youth empowerment project in South Africa, he has nurtured aspiring gospel artists such as Grace Galaxy and Simply Chrysolite, helping them compose, produce, and even win awards for their music. Some of his protégés have been compared to internationally acclaimed stars like Kelly Rowland. Beyond his pastoral work, Omotoso is a talented musician and instrumentalist. By the age of 10, he had mastered instruments such as the piano, guitar, and drums. In the 1980s, he served as a music director for Ebenezer Obey's D-Cross Band and Inter-Reformers Band. He also had a mission house in Durban where he houses girls as young as 15, where he groomed their musical talents.
That the mission house was a place in which he housed ladies and girls as young as 15 who had musical talent and sometimes came from disadvantaged backgrounds and had no one to finance or even support their gift or their dream of launching out into music. So he said in this mission house, it was a place that had various musical instruments such as the trumpet, the piano, and the saxophone, and he would teach several girls how to play the instruments.
He has authored books such as How to Enjoy Health, Wealth, and Longevity, and Prayer Bonanza. To further his mission, Omotoso founded the Ancient of Days Broadcasting Network, a 24-hour satellite TV station that reaches audiences across the Caribbean, Africa, Mexico, the Middle East, Europe, and the United States. His weekly TV broadcast, Just As I Am, combines music, sermons, and miracle sessions, airing on multiple networks worldwide. However, for all his accomplishments, Omotoso's legacy has been overshadowed by grave allegations of sexual abuse and human trafficking. These accusations are not isolated. Over 30 young women have come forward with disturbing accounts of abuse, including Anele and Neliswa, former Idols South Africa contestants.
Asking him, did he make sexual advances against the complainants, to which he said no. Did he touch the complainants in any sexual manner? He said no. Did he say any terms that would be connotated in a sexual manner? He said no. He asked him lastly, did the complainants ever come to your room individually or as a group? He said yes, but when they did come into my room, it was primarily for advice or coaching or spiritual mentoring, or if they were sick, would also pray for them. But
how did a man of such stature and influence fall into such controversy?
Tele-evangelist Timothy Omotoso will spend another Christmas behind bars. The Nigerian pastor, who is facing 32 charges, including rape, racketeering and human trafficking, was back at the Gqeberha High Court today. His co-accused Lusanda Sulani and Zukiswa Sito were both cross-examined.
The allegations of rape and human trafficking against Timothy Omotoso stem from close quarters. His own church members, employees, and individuals chosen to participate in church activities. These accusations show a pattern of exploitation and abuse that, as with many crimes of this nature, which could not have been carried out alone. 63-year-old Omotoso allegedly had accomplices in his female assistants, Lusanda Sulani, aged 41, and Zikiswa Sito, aged 33.
God called him and said he must come to South Africa and set up a GDI church here in South Africa. He stated that currently there are about 15 branches he has in South Africa.
Both women were arrested alongside Omotoso in April 2017 over allegations of their involvement in the crimes. Together, they face 32 charges, including racketeering, human trafficking, rape, and sexual assault. Initially, the case included 63 charges, but this number was reduced after some witnesses withdrew due to prolonged delays in the trial. While Omotoso was denied bail, Sulani and Sito, both South African nationals, were granted bail and have since awaited further trial proceedings. However, Omotoso, despite the allegations, claims he is innocent.
During his cross-examination, one can only analyze his cross-examination in one way, where Omotoso tried to play things safe, giving short answers to serious questions around the allegations that he's facing. So in terms of some of the allegations that he's been facing, Omotoso would say no, he didn't do anything, and no, he doesn't know about what these allegations or where these allegations are coming from, basically saying that some of the witnesses that testified during the trial have been lying. He has portrayed himself as a father-like figure to many of these congregants. Some of them are people who testified against him. Disturbing details coming out of court today of how he allegedly groomed and slept with young girls who went to his church, and then shortly after sexual intercourse, he will then pray with them. And some of the allegations that have been made were that Omotoso would also take these young girls that he identified at church and then take them to his mission house. And one thing that has been pointed out is that the mission house seems to be at the center of where these allegations.
Omotoso's prosecution alleges that some employees and church members were recruited under false pretenses, with promises of spiritual benefits or significant improvements in their quality of life. His victims were reportedly transported to hotels in Durban, Israel or Nigeria, arranged and paid for by Omotoso or his associates. Upon arrival, complainants were allegedly subjected to strict house rules. They were instructed to turn off their phones, cease all communication with male companions, and follow Omotoso's commands. Female members of the church were often confined to a single room where they lived and slept, awaiting further instructions. According to the allegations, Omotoso would select one of the females to visit his private bedroom, where he is accused of raping or sexually assaulting them.
The case of rape accused Pastor Timothy Omotoso and his two co-accused Lusanda Sulani and Zukiswa Sito has been remanded until the 16th of January. It was a really brief appearance this morning where it started off by State Advocate Joel Caesar saying that they received an application of a new entry brought forward by defense lawyer Peter Doberman.
One of the 49 witnesses taking the stand against accused televangelist Pastor Timothy Omotoso had broken down in tears in the Eastern Cape High Court in Gqeberha as she recalled her alleged sexual abuse experience. which started when she was just 14 years old. Her name is Cheryl Zondi, now 27, and she gave very shocking testimonies about her experiences between 2010 and 2015, allegedly at the hands of Omotoso. Initially, many witnesses who claimed they had been sexually assaulted by the Nigerian cleric based in South Africa had stopped the case and refused to testify against him in court due to the court delays, as they had other important things to turn to. A judge on the case had also been changed, and a new judge, Judge Irma Showman, is the current presiding officer. During her hearing, Zondi told the court Omotoso would summon her to his room at his residence in Durban, where he allegedly forced her to perform oral sex on him after asking for a body massage. Omotoso, however, claimed he often asked the girls for massages, but never in any way tried sexualizing it.
State that yes, it did ask at times the girls to massage him, and also at times the girls inside the house would also see how tired he was because of the praying and fasting and the vocal training he was doing with the choir inside the house. He would be tired, and the girls would at times ask him, "Dada or Daddy, do you want a massage?" And then they would give a massage voluntarily.
He also says he would often have meetings with some of his church members in his bedroom, and while he flatly denied ever sleeping with them, he admitted that some would massage his feet.
Zondi also claimed the sequence of events was always the same. Omotoso would summon her, she would close his bedroom door behind her, remove her clothing, and join him in bed, where he was always under the covers. She said Omotoso would tell her to do things with her mouth and tongue, but since she was still young, she was confused about what exactly she was doing. She was just obeying the instructions of her highly respected spiritual leader. Zondi added, when he had enough of asking for some contact with his genitals, that he would have her lie down on the bed naked, while he was only unclad from the waist down. She mentioned that sometimes there was little penetration, but most often he would stroke his penis in the middle of her thighs.
Inserted his private part in between her thighs, he ejaculated, she had to wipe it off, and then they had to pray. And she says that even when they traveled to Nigeria and Israel, because then Zondi became part of a three-group choir, even when they traveled as a three-group choir, both in Nigeria and Israel, he also molested her. So also saying that the molestation not only happened in Durban or in the mission house, but also outside.
According to her, it happened so frequently that her thighs were later red and tender from all the friction. However, Omotoso denied these accusations leveled against him.
Is saying that at no point when she came inside his room did he ever at all force her or insert, as she says, as she alleges, his private part in between her thighs, ejaculated. He then denied the saying that did not happen at all. When she came to his room, it was all to give her counseling because of the challenge she faced.
During a cross-examination, Omotoso's lawyer, Peter Dauberman, who had brought the application for discharge of Omotoso's case in terms of Section 174 of the Criminal Procedure Act in early 2023, claimed his client did not have a fair trial. He asked Zondi why she left the church following the alleged abuse, only to return a few years later, if she knew the alleged abuse was bound to happen again. Zondi said it was because she was afraid of Omotoso. Tearfully, she said, "He made me believe it was God's will. He said it was a covenant, and covenants cannot be broken." Dauberman asked if she really believed that, and Zondi said she was only 14 years old and impressionable, adding that at that age she was so naive and would do anything, the pastor said. But there's a twist here. In Zondi's initial statement, she didn't pen down the things she said at the court hearing, which was a chance for Omotoso's lawyer to break her defense and prove his client's innocence. Dauberman also wanted to know why Zondi told the court there was penetration when she did not mention it in her statements to the police or the handwritten statement she wrote herself. But Zondi insisted she mentioned it to the previous prosecutor and a member of the Hawks, who took down her statement. At this point, Dauberman pointed out that Zondi Cheryl did not write it in the statement and put it to Zondi. She changed her story to suit her own version. She denied the claim and said there was penetration, but only slightly. When asked why she did not mention it in her statements, Zondi said she could not recall. Still, perhaps she deemed it as unimportant because it was only slight penetration. She claimed, "I have no control over how much I can or cannot remember. Sometimes my brain blocks things out, other times I remember even more, but it has been a traumatic experience." When Doberman pointed out the alleged rape incidents happened years ago, she said it did not make it less traumatizing. Zondi added before the alleged rape, she had no sexual experiences at that age, and the act itself was confusing to her. But Zondi isn't the only alleged victim to come forward with her experiences involving Pastor Omotoso. As mentioned earlier, twin sisters Neliswa and Anele Mshakaza also shared their harrowing ordeal with him, though their account differs somewhat from Zondi's. The former Idol's essay contestants, Neliswa and Anele Mshakaza, have come forward with powerful accusations against their former pastor, Timothy Omotoso, shedding light on the abuse that allegedly took place in his Umhlanga home. At one point, both Neliswa and Anele were fervent supporters of Omotoso. They even defended him during his initial court case and expressed love for him. However, their recent statements paint a harrowing picture of what they endured during their time living in his home.
Hi, this is Anneliso, and we are going to be doing a song by Mlindo, the vocalist. I'm a blesser. Uyazi uthanda umuntu vele uxole ngaye. Uvele ubone straight, uvele ubone.
The twins revealed that their time at Omotoso's house in Umhlanga was far from what they had previously let on. They describe it as the worst experience ever and claim they were subjected to constant threats and a life of fear, which speaks volumes of the manipulation they were forced to endure. The twins said they were pressured to please Omotoso and warned that God would punish them if they spoke out. While they said he never sexually assaulted them, they shared that he made uncomfortable sexual comments about their bodies in front of others and asked inappropriate questions about their personal lives. This behavior made them feel unsafe, and they eventually left his house, afraid they might become victims. Omotoso, however, denied these claims in court.
Words that were perhaps become interpreted as sexual connotations. He denied that and kept on stating that any time he did say anything of a compliment to a woman's body, it was primarily based on a biblical foundation, stating that in the Songs of Songs there are things that in the Bible that state that you have got beautiful breasts. So when he would comment such things, perhaps the complainants took it in a more derogatory term, but for him it was merely stating a pure holy Bible. So nothing ever said to the complainants was ever in a sexual connotation, but instead he said as a holy man, he complimented them based on the biblical foundation on which he stood on.
The twins said they were made to believe Omotoso was closest to God and that they could only connect with God through him. Out of fear, they stayed silent and even took part in interviews to defend him. Another alleged victim, a woman, now 33, testified that Omotoso sexually assaulted her for over 4 years, starting when she was in grade 11. She claims the assaults happened in places like Nigeria and Israel. Omotoso and his co-defendants argue that the evidence against them was collected unfairly, asking the court to reject it, but the judge turned down this request. The NPA, South Africa's agency responsible for prosecutions, confirmed that the court is now prepared to proceed, requiring the accused to present their case and undergo cross-examination by the state. But let's get back to the pursuit of justice by Omotoso's lawyer to prove his client innocent. Defense lawyer, advocate Peter Doberman, made serious accusations of prosecutorial misconduct during the trial of Pastor Timothy Omotoso, who is facing charges of racketeering and sexual abuse. Dauberman claimed that advocate Ncheba Ntelwa, one of the previous state prosecutors on the alleged rape accusations, allegedly encouraged witnesses to lie under oath. He also accused Ntelwa of becoming too involved with the witnesses in an effort to ensure a conviction.
In fact, drop all charges against the accused advocate Peter Dauberman, stating that he feels that this trial was unfair, that if anything, former state prosecutor Ncheba Ntelwa, who has recused himself from this case, did persuade witnesses to commit perjury. But you also remember that in August, and Judge Omotoso dismissed this application, saying that if anything, all evidence...
So, how did the judges respond to these claims? Judge Irma Shulman acknowledged that the state failed to present evidence for some of the charges. As a result, she stated that all three accused individuals had the right to be acquitted on those specific charges. However, she made it clear that there were still serious charges remaining that the accused must answer for. This means the case is far from over and the accused are not off the hook just yet. Meanwhile, the National Prosecuting Authority's Luxolo Tiali revealed that some witnesses changed their minds about testifying, while others moved away during the long trial, making things harder for both sides. Judge Shulman found that advocate Ntelwa acted improperly with one witness, allegedly instructing her to stick to her police statement, which left out details of an alleged assault. Shulman called Ntelwa's actions highly irregular, stating that they made the trial unfair. Interestingly, Shulman noted that Dauberman, Omotoso's lawyer, could have recalled witnesses to question them about Ntelwa's influence but didn't. This raised questions about why he didn't take that chance. Despite all this, Omotoso continues to claim he's innocent. But despite the testimonies against him, Omotoso insists that he is innocent against all the charges.
Afternoon, rape-accused Nigerian pastor Timothy Omotoso insists that his hands are clean. While scores of his supporters gathered outside court for moral support, Omotoso took to the witness stand for the first time this week and has vehemently denied the charges leveled against him.
Outside the courtroom, Pastor Omotoso's supporters were vocal and unrelenting in support of their spiritual leader.
He doesn't know.
But not everyone believed Omotoso was innocent. A smaller group, including members of the ANC Women's League, rallied against the pastor, demanding that he face the consequences of his alleged crimes. Pastor Timothy Omotoso's trial has experienced several significant developments since the case started in 2017 and is yet to be concluded as of now, 2025. So far, the case involves serious charges, including rape, trafficking, sexual assault, and racketeering. As of December 2024, the trial was set to resume with closing arguments scheduled for the 22nd of January 2025.
Welcome back. The rape trial of televangelist Timothy Omotoso has been postponed to the 22nd of January for closing arguments. Omotoso, alongside Lusanda Sulani and Zukiswa Sito, face 32 charges including rape, sexual assault, human trafficking and racketeering. It's alleged the young women were recruited through Omotoso's ministry.
Given these developments, do you believe Pastor Omotoso is guilty of the charges against him? Or do you think the evidence is insufficient or possibly fabricated? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more content. Thanks for watching and see you in the next one.